The words hung in the air like smoke from a dying fire, thick and impossible to wave away. "Mom, I'm gay." Lily's voice cracked on the last syllable, her 18-year-old hands trembling in Gemma's lap as if the confession might shatter the fragile peace of their Seattle kitchen. Gemma's heart didn't skip. It plummeted, then soared, a wild pendulum swing that left her breathless, because in that instant, she saw not just her daughter, but the ghost of her own buried youth staring back. And then the doorbell rang, a sharp chime slicing through the moment like a knife through silk. Gemma rose on unsteady legs, her mind a whirlwind of pride for Lily and a sudden, inexplicable dread. She opened the door to find Alex standing there, rain-slicked coat dripping onto the welcome mat, those piercing blue eyes unchanged after 25 years, holding a bouquet of wildflowers as if time had been nothing more than a brief, inconvenient detour. Gemma froze, the world narrowing to the faint scent of lavender and earth rising from the blooms, the same flowers Alex had once pressed between the pages of their shared poetry book in a college dorm that smelled of instant coffee and forbidden dreams. "Gemma," Alex said, her voice a low murmur that carried the weight of summers spent tangled in bedsheets under starlit skies. "I know this is out of nowhere, but I had to see you." Lily peered over Gemma's shoulder, her eyes wide with curiosity, oblivious to the seismic shift cracking open beneath her mother's feet. "How do you explain to your child that the woman at your door isn't just an old friend, but the first love who carved your heart into pieces and now, impossibly, held the glue to mend it back?" The rain pattered against the window panes like impatient fingers as Gemma led Alex inside, her movements mechanical, a hostess's smile plastered on while her pulse thundered in her ears. Lily hovered nearby, wiping flour from her hands on her jeans. They had been baking scones, a ritual born of too many lonely evenings after Gemma's divorce, when the scent of butter and vanilla became their armor against the world's sharp edges. "This is Alex," Gemma managed, her voice steadier than she felt. "An old college acquaintance." The lie tasted bitter, but the truth? That was a Pandora's box she wasn't ready to unleash, not when Lily's fresh wound still bled vulnerability. Alex's gaze flicked to Lily, softening with genuine warmth. "You must be the brilliant daughter I've heard whispers about in passing letters." She extended the bouquet toward Gemma, but her eyes never left the girl's face. "I'm sorry to barge in like this. I was in town for a conference, environmental law, of all things, and I couldn't leave without, well, trying." Lily accepted the flowers with a shy grin, her earlier tension easing into the easy charm that had always disarmed Gemma's defenses. "They're beautiful. Mom loves lavender, says it reminds her of freedom." The words landed like a gentle accusation, and Gemma felt heat rise to her cheeks. Freedom. What a cruel irony, when hers had been chained away so long ago. They settled into the living room, the space a testament to Gemma's quiet reinvention, bookshelves groaning under dog-eared novels on feminism and ecology, a faded quilt from her grandmother draped over the armchair, and framed photos of Lily's milestones, graduations, hikes through the Olympics, that awkward middle school dance where she'd worn a tuxedo instead of a gown. Alex sank into the sofa with the grace of someone who had never quite lost her poise, even after life had thrown its curveballs. At 47, she was more striking than Gemma remembered, the sharp angles of her face softened by silver threads in her blonde bob, laugh lines etching stories of resilience around those ocean blue eyes. She'd traded the ripped jeans of their youth for tailored slacks and a silk blouse, but the way she crossed her legs, ankle over knee, echoed the defiant girl who had once chained herself to a redwood tree to protest logging. "So," Lily ventured, curling up on the floor with a mug of chamomile, "what brings you back to Seattle after all this time? Mom never mentions college friends." Gemma shot her a warning glance, but Lily's eyes sparkled with mischief, the same spark that had ignited when she confessed her truth just minutes ago. Boldness ran in the blood, it seemed. Alex chuckled, a sound like wind chimes in a breeze, and Gemma's chest tightened. "Your mom and I shared a few adventures back then. Protests, late-night debates about saving the world. She was always the one with the fire, the one who made you believe change was possible. Her gaze met Gemma's then, holding it with an intensity that stripped away the years, leaving only the raw ache of what-ifs. As Lily peppered Alex with questions about her work in Portland, her rescue dog named Sage, the time she skydived over the Grand Canyon, Gemma watched from the edges, a spectator in her own life. The evening unfolded in a haze of laughter and shared anecdotes, the scones devoured with butter and jam, the rain outside a soothing lullaby. But beneath it all simmered the unspoken. The night in 1998 when Alex had slipped away without a goodbye, a letter tucked under Gemma's pillow citing family pressures, a world not ready for their kind of love. Gemma had buried that pain under layers of motherhood, of building a life with a man who was kind but never quite filled the hollow spaces, of raising Lily to be fearless in ways Gemma herself had learned to fear. When Lily yawned and excused herself to bed, kissing Gemma's cheek with a whispered, "I'm glad you're not alone tonight," the room seemed to contract. Alex waited until the stairs creaked empty before speaking. "She's incredible, Gem. Just like her mother." The nickname, long dormant, bloomed like a bruise. Gemma sank back into the cushions, exhaustion warring with a treacherous spark of longing. "Why now, Alex? After all this time, what changed?" Alex leaned forward, her hand brushing Gemma's knee. Electric, familiar. "I never stopped loving you. But seeing your posts online about Lily's activism, it hit me. We're not kids anymore. The world shifted, and I couldn't live with a regret anymore." The conversation stretched into the small hours, words tumbling out like pent-up rivers. The years Alex had spent in therapy, piecing together the shame her conservative parents had instilled, Gemma's confessions of a marriage that crumbled under the weight of unspoken truths, her quiet support for Lily's crushes on girls at school without ever revealing her own history. Dawn crept in, painting the walls in soft pinks, when Alex finally stood. "I have to catch a flight back, but dinner tomorrow? Just us." Gemma nodded, her throat too tight for words, as Alex pulled her into an embrace that smelled of rain and possibility. The door clicked shut behind her, and Gemma lingered there, hand pressed to her chest, feeling the dual beats of her heart, one for the daughter who had set her free, the other for the love that had returned to claim her. But as the day wore on, doubt crept in like fog off Puget Sound. Lily found her in the garden later that afternoon, pruning roses with more force than necessary. "Mom, that woman Alex. There's history there, isn't there?" Gemma paused, shears hovering mid-cut. Lily's eyes, so like her own, held no judgment, only the fierce protectiveness of youth. "Yeah, kiddo, there is." And in that moment, with dirt under her nails and the sun warming her face, Gemma began to unravel the threads of her silence, weaving a new tapestry where past and present could finally entwine. The dinner reservation was at a little bistro in Capitol Hill, the kind of place with candlelit tables and walls lined with local art, queer icons in bold strokes, a silent nod to the neighborhood's heartbeat. Gemma arrived early, fidgeting with the hem of her emerald dress, the one she'd bought on a whim after her divorce and never worn. At 48, she felt exposed, her body a map of stretch marks from pregnancy and laugh lines from too many solo birthdays. But when Alex walked in, scanning the room until her eyes lit up, Gemma remembered. Beauty wasn't in perfection, but in the stories etched into skin. They ordered wine, a crisp Sauvignon Blanc that tasted of green apples and memory, and the conversation flowed like it never had before, unburdened by the naivety of youth. Alex spoke of her firm, where she fought for indigenous land rights, her voice gaining fire as she described a recent victory against a pipeline. "It's what we dreamed about, remember? Changing the world, one stubborn stand at a time." Gemma laughed, the sound surprising her with its lightness. "You always were the dreamer. I was the one who planned the bail money." But beneath the banter lay deeper currents, Alex's quiet admission of a string of short-lived relationships, each ending because no one measured up to the ghost of Gemma. Gemma's halting story of therapy sessions where she'd finally named her love for Alex as the root of her marital unrest. As plates of seared scallops and asparagus arrived, the air grew thicker with what wasn't said. Alex reached across the table, tracing the back of Gemma's hand with her thumb. "I left because I was scared, Gem. My father found our letters, threatened to disown me. I thought if I disappeared, you'd be free to have the life I couldn't give you. The husband, the family." Tears pricked Gemma's eyes, hot and unbidden. "You think I wanted that? Lily's my world, but you were my first everything. And I spent years pretending that part of me didn't exist, for her sake, for mine." The waiter discreetly refilled their glasses, giving them space, and in that bubble of intimacy, Gemma felt the walls she'd built begin to crack. They walked the streets after, arm in arm, the cool autumn air carrying hints of salt from the bay. Capitol Hill buzzed with life, couples holding hands without a second glance, rainbow flags fluttering from balconies like banners of hard-won peace. Alex stopped under a street lamp, pulling Gemma close. Their first kiss in decades was tentative, a brush of lips that deepened into something fierce and forgiving, tasting of wine and wasted time. "I don't want to rush this," Alex whispered against her mouth, "but I can't walk away again." Gemma pulled back just enough to search her face, seeing the woman she'd loved and the stranger who'd survived without her. "Then don't." "But Lily, she comes first. Always." Back home, Lily was waiting up, sprawled on the couch with a book of Audre Lorde poems, her latest obsession. "How is it?" she asked, casual but probing. Gemma sank beside her, still flushed from the night. "Terrifying. Wonderful. Like coming out all over again." Lily set the book down, turning to face her fully. "You know, when I told you earlier, I was scared you'd freak because of your own stuff. But you didn't. You hugged me like it was the most normal thing." She hesitated, then plunged on. "I overheard you on the phone once, years ago, talking to Aunt Sarah about what-ifs from college. Is Alex part of that?" Gemma's breath caught. Lily, perceptive as ever, had pieced it together without a map.
"Yes.
She was the love of my life.
And now?"
Maybe again." Lily's smile was radiant, a bridge between generations. "Then let her in, Mom. We both deserve that." The weeks that followed blurred into a tentative rhythm, Alex's visits stretching from dinners to overnights, her suitcase lingering longer each time. Gemma watched Lily bloom under the unspoken permission, sleepovers with her girlfriend Mia, a tattooed barista with a poet's soul, pride stickers on her laptop, debates at the dinner table about intersectional feminism that left them all exhilarated and exhausted. But harmony was fragile, and cracks appeared when Alex's past resurfaced in the form of an email from her sister, a plea for reconciliation, laced with old prejudices. "She says she's changed," Alex confided one evening, pacing the kitchen as rain lashed the windows. "Invites us to Thanksgiving in Eugene. But what if it's a trap?" Gemma pulled her into a chair, hands steady on her shoulders. "Then we set boundaries. Like you taught me all those years ago, stand your ground, but leave room for grace." They drove south the next weekend, a test run, Lily in the back seat with headphones on, sketching designs for a queer youth center mural. The reunion was awkward at first, stiff hugs, forced small talk over turkey, but Alex's sister, weathered by her own losses, reached out with trembling hands. "I was wrong. About you, about love. Seeing you happy. It makes me want to try." Tears flowed freely then, a catharsis that bound wounds neither had known were still bleeding. Yet the real storm brewed closer to home. Gemma's ex-husband, David, caught wind of the mystery woman through mutual friends and demanded a meeting at a neutral coffee shop in Bellevue. He arrived looking every bit the corporate drone he'd become, suit crisp, tie knotted too tight, his face a mask of concern that barely hid the judgment. "Gemma, think of Lily. This phase at your age? It's confusing for her." The words ignited something primal in her. "Phase? David, I loved Alex before I loved you. And Lily's not confused, she's brave. Something you never quite grasped. She walked out without another word, heart pounding, straight into Alex's waiting car. "Drive," she said, and they did, windows down, wind whipping their hair as they chased the highway toward the coast. There, on a windswept beach near Olympia, with waves crashing like applause, Gemma proposed not with a ring, but with a vow. "Marry me, Alex. Not for the world, but for us, for the life we almost lost." Alex's yes was a sob, their embrace fierce against the spray. Lily, who had followed in her own car with Mia, captured the moment on her phone, her cheers mingling with the gulls. It wasn't perfect. There would be more battles, more whispers from neighbors who remembered Gemma as the straight-laced mom, but in that salt-kissed air, Gemma felt the full weight of her humanity, a mother who had taught her daughter to love boldly, a woman reclaiming the fire of her youth. Months later, at their small wedding in a garden overlooking Lake Washington, Lily's blooming defiant against the April chill, Lily stood as best woman, her toast a masterpiece of wit and heart. "To Mom and Alex, for showing me that love isn't a coming-out story with an end, but a beginning that keeps unfolding." As they danced under string lights, Gemma caught Lily's eye across the crowd, seeing the cycle complete, vulnerability passed down not as burden, but as gift. In the quiet after, as guests departed and stars pricked the sky, Alex whispered, "We did it, Gem. We made it home." And Gemma, whole at last, knew she had, to the love that had waited, patient as the tides, to carry her forward. The ceremony's echoes lingered like the faint hum of bees in the garden's overripe blooms, but life, as it does, swept Gemma and Alex into its relentless current. They settled into a rhythm that felt both novel and ancient, mornings tangled in sheets that still carried the faint starch of Alex's Portland apartment, coffee brewed strong and black while Lily texted from her dorm room at the University of Washington, updates on lectures and late-night study sessions with Mia. Gemma, at 48, had taken a leave from her job as a high school counselor, the one where she'd guided countless teens through their own mazes of identity, to pursue a long-dormant dream, writing a memoir on queer motherhood in the shadow of silence. Alex supported it with the quiet ferocity she'd always possessed, her law practice allowing weekends free for hikes in the Cascades, where they'd reclaim stolen moments with whispered stories of what might have been. But reinvention came with its thorns. One crisp October afternoon, as leaves turned the streets of their Capitol Hill row house into a fiery corridor, Gemma received a call from the school. Lily had been in a heated debate during a guest speaker's talk on LGBTQ+ rights. Nothing new, her daughter thrived on such clashes. But this time, it escalated. A classmate, emboldened by online echo chambers, had cornered her after class, spitting slurs that echoed the ugliest chapters of history.
Freak.
"Your mom's a late bloomer dyke. Bet she turned you." Lily held her ground, voice steady as she recounted the poets who'd armed her spirit, but the words had landed like fists, leaving bruises no ice pack could soothe. Gemma raced across town, Alex in tow, their hands clasped tight over the gearshift. They found Lily in the counselor's office. Ironic, that, curled in an armchair with red-rimmed eyes, but chin lifted defiantly. "I'm okay," she insisted as Gemma enveloped her in a hug that smelled of vanilla lotion and unyielding love. But okay was a lie they all recognized. It was the armor kids like Lily wore to keep the world at bay. Alex knelt beside her, voice soft as sea glass. "No one's words get to define you, Lil. Not when you've got Audre Lorde in your veins and two moms who'll fight the tide for you." Lily's laugh was watery, but real, and in that shared huddle, Gemma felt the profound gift of their makeshift family, not bloodbound, but chosen, forged in the fires of honesty. The incident rippled outward, a stone skipped across still waters. Gemma channeled her fury into her writing, pages filling with raw vignettes of her own youth, the clandestine meetings in Seattle's underground cafes during the 90s, when AIDS crises loomed and marriage equality was a fever dream, the ache of Alex's absence, a hollow that echoed through her vows to David, kind but oblivious. "I married safety," She typed one evening, fingers flying over keys as Alex read proofs beside her, but love demanded risk. Publishing queries went out, rejections piled up, but each no was a nudge forward, a reminder that stories like hers, layered, late-blooming, deserved space on shelves dominated by tidy narratives. Alex, meanwhile, faced her own tempest. Her firm's biggest case landed, defending a queer couple's adoption against a bigoted county clerk in rural Oregon. The trial was a media circus, headlines blaring lesbian power couple takes on heartland hate, twisting their private joy into public spectacle. Late nights bled into dawn, Alex poring over precedents with an intensity that left her hollow-eyed, snapping at small things, a misplaced file, a delayed dinner. Gemma bore it with patience honed from years of single parenting, but tension simmered. One night, after a brutal deposition where the opposing counsel sneered slurs under oath, Alex shattered. She hurled her briefcase across the living room, papers scattering like fallen leaves. "How do we win when the system's built to bury us?" she raged, sinking to the floor in tears. Gemma gathered her up, rocking gently as if soothing a storm-tossed child. "We win by showing up every damn time. Like Lily did. Like we did for each other." They made love that night with a desperation born of survival, slow, reverent touches mapping scars both visible and not, reaffirming that vulnerability was their greatest strength. The case dragged on, but Alex's closing argument, delivered with fire that evoked their college protest days, swayed the judge. Victory came in a quiet courtroom, the gavels rapped louder than any applause, and when Alex called Gemma from the steps, her voice broke on "We did it." It was more than a legal win. It was absolution for the girl who'd once fled in fear. Holiday season arrived like a double-edged blade, glittering with promise and peril. Lily brought Mia home for Hanukkah, a first, the house alive with lax sizzling and Mia's awkward charm winning Alex over with tales of her immigrant grandparents' resilience. But David's family sent a card, polite on the surface but laced with barbs, wishing you all joy in your unconventional path. Gemma burned it in the fireplace, ashes curling like released ghosts, but the sting lingered. She confided in Alex over mulled wine by the tree, lights twinkling like hesitant stars. "Sometimes I wonder if I robbed Lily of normalcy. 2 moms, no dad at the table." Alex cupped her face, thumbs brushing away unshed tears. "Normalcy's a myth, love. We gave her authenticity. That's the real inheritance." As snow dusted the evergreens, Gemma's manuscript found a home with a small press specializing in queer voices. The advance was modest, but the editor's note, "Your story's a beacon for those coming late to their truth," ignited something fierce. Launch events loomed, readings in bookstores from Portland to San Francisco, and with them, the terror of exposure. What if old friends recoiled? What if Lily read between the lines and saw the pain Gemma had hidden to protect her? Alex sensed the spiral, pulling her onto the porch swing one frosty evening. "You're not just Gemma the mom anymore. You're Gemma the survivor, the lover, the voice. And I'll be right there, holding the mic if your hands shake." The first reading was in a cramped Seattle shop, air thick with coffee and anticipation. Lily and Mia filled the front row, their presence a talisman. Gemma stepped to the podium, heart hammering, and began, "This is for the women who loved in shadows." The words poured out, raw and rhythmic, drawing gasps and nods from strangers who saw themselves in the lines. Applause thundered as she closed, Alex's proud tears mirroring her own. Backstage, Lily hugged her fierce. "That was you, Mom, all of you. And it's beautiful." In that embrace, Gemma glimpsed the future, a legacy not of perfection, but of perseverance, where love's late arrivals proved the most enduring. Yet trials never truly end. They evolve. Spring brought an unexpected visitor. Alex's mother, frail from chemo, arriving unannounced with a suitcase and apologies wrapped in tissue paper fragility. "I read about the case in the paper," she said, voice quavering over tea. "Saw your face, so like your father's, but with my fight." I was wrong, Alexa. Let me make it right. Forgiveness wasn't easy. It came in fits and starts, shared silences over jigsaw puzzles, stories of Alex's childhood that humanized the woman who'd once wielded shame like a weapon. Gemma mediated with grace, her counselor's instincts guiding them toward healing, while Lily observed with wide-eyed wonder. "Grandma's kinda cool," she whispered one night, "once you peel back the layers." Through it all, their love deepened, a quiet revolution. Summer found them road-tripping the Pacific Coast Highway, top down, wind singing through their hair, Gemma at the wheel, Alex navigating with maps marked in her precise script. They stopped at Big Sur, where cliffs met sea in dramatic embrace, and made promises etched in sand, to weather storms, to celebrate triumphs, to choose each other daily. Lily joined for the tail end, her and Mia's laughter a soundtrack to barbecues on beaches, where they swapped stories under bonfires. Gemma's first kiss with Alex behind a campus oak, Lily's clumsy prom confession to Mia in a high school bathroom. By autumn's turn, as Gemma's book climbed indie lists, a new chapter beckoned, Fostering. An agency call about a teenage girl, out, scared, adrift, stirred memories of her own hidden years. "We have room," Alex said, eyes alight. Lily nodded, fierce. "And heart." The girl, Jordan, arrived with a duffel and defiant glare, but evenings of board games and honest talks softened her edges. Watching her unfold, Gemma saw echoes of Lily at 18, of herself at that age, proof that love's reach extended beyond blood, mending fractures in the collective soul. In quiet moments, as rain drummed lullabies on the roof, Gemma traced Alex's sleeping face, marveling at the journey. From a daughter's brave words to a love's improbable return, life had woven a tapestry rich with color, kinks and all. And in its threads, she found not just survival, but sacredness, the human truth that to love, fully and fearlessly, was to honor every hidden heart. Fall deepened into winter's hush, the city cloaked in mist that muffled footsteps and amplified heartbeats. Jordan's integration was a dance of trial and tenderness, her first family dinner marred by a slammed door after a casual joke about straight allies hit too close to old wounds from a rejecting aunt. Gemma didn't chase. Instead, she left a plate outside the room, piled with roast chicken and mashed potatoes, a silent olive branch. Alex, ever the strategist, followed with a shared playlist of Riot Girl anthems. Bikini Kill's snarls a bridge to the anger Jordan carried like armor. By morning, the girl emerged, eyes puffy but posture softer. "Sorry," she mumbled, sliding into a chair. Lily, home for break, ruffled her hair. "Don't be. We're all works in progress here." The fostering deepened their bonds, turning the house into a haven humming with estrogen-fueled chaos. Debates over vegan recipes versus Gemma's beloved comfort foods, movie nights devolving into pillow fights, Alex teaching Jordan self-defense moves in the backyard, her grips firm but forgiving. But expansion brought exposure. A local paper profiled Gemma's book, dubbing their home Seattle's queer family experiment, and with the praise came trolls, anonymous emails decrying indoctrination, a neighbor's passive-aggressive note about family values. David, in a rare olive branch attempt, showed up one gray afternoon, Lily at his side after a custody check-in that had gone south. "I read the article," he said, hands shoved in pockets. "Proud of you, Gem. Really.
But
Be careful with the girls. The world's not as kind as your bubble." His words, meant kind, landed like lead. Gemma nodded, throat tight, ushering him out before the resentment boiled over. Alone with Lily, she vented. "He thinks we're fragile flowers when we're the oaks." Lily hugged her, fierce. "You're the whole damn forest, Mom." That night, over wine with Alex, Gemma voiced the fear gnawing deeper. What if we're setting them up for heartbreak? Jordan's already been through hell. Alex pulled her close, breath warm against her temple. "Then we teach them how to rise. Like we did." The new year dawned with resolve. Alex surprised Gemma with a weekend getaway to the San Juan Islands, Ferry rides through fog-shrouded waters, a cabin with a wood stove crackling against the chill. No kids, no cases, just them. Long walks on pebble beaches, collecting sea glass in jars like treasures from their youth. They talk to futures, adopting Jordan if the stars aligned, perhaps another foster down the line, and pasts, unearthing letters Alex had kept, yellowed missives from college days. I burned my copy, Gemma admitted, thinking it'd cauterize the wound. Alex kissed her knuckles. Foolish woman. Some fires never fully die, they just wait for the right wind. Back in Seattle, spring unfurled with ferocity, cherry blossoms carpeting streets like pink confetti, a metaphor for fleeting beauty they all clung to. Lily's internship at a nonprofit landed her on a panel for Youth Pride. Her poise under stage lights a mirror to Gemma's readings. Jordan, thawing, joined the school's GSA, her artwork, bold abstracts of intertwined figures adorning flyers. But Joy's shadow loomed when Alex's mother took a turn for the worse, hospice whispers turning urgent. They drove to Eugene en masse, the car a rolling therapy session, Lily quizzing Jordan on Portlandia trivia to ease the tension, Mia piping in with memes from the passenger seat. The vigil was a masterclass in grace under grief. Alex's mom, bedridden but sharp-eyed, gripped her daughter's hand. I see it now, Alexa. The light you carry. It's from me, but brighter. To Gemma, she extended a frail arm. Thank you for bringing her home. Tears fell unchecked as they sang old folk tunes, voices weaving harmony from discord. When the end came peacefully at dawn, the sun piercing curtains like a benediction, Alex didn't shatter. She leaned into Gemma, whispering, "We honored her. That's enough." The funeral was small, a scattering of ashes in the Willamette under spring rains, followed by a wake where stories flowed like the river. The woman who'd once condemned now celebrated in toasts to redemption. Healing rippled back home. Jordan's caseworker noted the change, fast-tracking permanency papers. You've built something real here, she said, signing forms with a flourish. Adoption day was understated. A backyard picnic with cake and confetti poppers, Jordan's new name legally etched, her choice. Jordan Ellis Rivera, blending Alex's surname with a nod to her heritage. Family's not just blood, she said, hugging them all. It's the people who stay. Lily filmed it, turning the footage into a vlog that went quietly viral in queer parenting circles, messages flooding in. This is hope. Summer swelled with adventures. A group camping trip to the Hoh rainforest, tents pitched amid ancient cedars dripping moss, ghost stories around the fire revealing vulnerabilities, Jordan's fear of abandonment, Lily's imposter syndrome at college. Gemma and Alex stole moments by the river, feet in icy water, hands linked. We're good at this, Gemma murmured, turning strangers into sisters. Alex grinned, splashing her. Because we know the cost of silence. As leaves hinted at gold again, Gemma's book tour peaked in New York, a whirlwind of signings and panels, Alex at her side like a sentinel. One Q&A turned pointed. A young woman, voice trembling, asked, "How do you come out when your family's the barrier?" Gemma paused, seeing Lily's face in the crowd of her youth. You do it in pieces. Start with one truth, then another. And if they can't meet you, you build your own table. The applause was thunderous, but the real reward came later, in a hotel bar, Alex's toast. To the woman who makes truths sing. Yet autumn brought a curveball. David's remarriage announcement. A wedding invite tucked in mail, polite but probing. Lily's welcome, of course. Curiosity warred with caution. Lily opted in, Mia as buffer, returning with tales of awkward dances and a stepmom who baked mean pies. Dad's happy, she reported, and weirdly supportive. Said to tell you life's too short for grudges. Gemma absorbed it, a quiet peace settling. No villains, just humans fumbling toward light. Winter holidays blended traditions, Christmas trees strung with queer icons alongside a menorah, Sufganiot fried alongside gingerbread. Jordan's first big ask. A tattoo, a small rainbow infinity on her wrist. For the endless part, she explained. They inked it together. needles buzzing like affirmations. As snow fell soft outside, the house glowed, for women, woven tight, facing the year ahead with eyes wide to wonder and wounds. In the hush of New Year's Eve, fireworks blooming over the sound, Gemma pulled Alex to the roof, blankets wrapped around them. "Here's to us," she said, clinking champagne flutes. Alex's kiss was firework bright. "To every tomorrow." Below, laughter rose. Lily and Mia plotting travels, Jordan sketching dreams. Gemma's heart swelled. Love, it turned out, wasn't a finite resource, but an ever-expanding sea, deep enough to drown doubts and buoy souls toward dawn. The new year unfolded like a letter long sealed, each day revealing creases of surprise and strain. Jordan's high school senior year kicked off with audacious goals: captain of the debate team, lead in the spring musical, but beneath the bravado lurked the ache of her past, unearthed in therapy sessions Gemma facilitated with gentle prompts. "I keep waiting for the rug to pull," Jordan confessed one rainy Tuesday, rain streaking windows like tears. Gemma nodded, no platitudes, just presence. "It might feel that way sometimes. But rugs in this house? We weave them ourselves, sturdy, with room for spills." Alex added her touch later, a self-defense workshop in the garage, teaching not just holds but the power of voice. Say your no like it's gospel. Lily, thriving at UW, dove into activism, organizing a campus rally against trans healthcare bans that drew national eyes and threats. A slashed tire on her beat-up Civic was the first sign. Anonymous notes slipped under dorm doors the next. "They're scared of you," Mia texted Gemma during a frantic call, voice steady but edged. Gemma and Alex drove up that night, campus lights harsh against the gloom, enveloping Lily in hugs that smelled of highway coffee and home. "This is why we fight," Alex said, surveying the tire like a crime scene. Not in spite of the ugly, but because of it. They camped in the dorm, a fortress of four, Jordan Skyping in for moral support, turning fear into fuel with playlists of anthems and all-night talks on resilience. The rally succeeded, policy shifted, but the toll lingered. Lily's grades dipped, her spark dimmed to flicker. Gemma recognized the burnout, the echo of her own post-divorce haze. "Take a breath, kid," she urged over video calls. "Victories don't erase the marathon." Alex suggested a family retreat, a cabin in the Methow Valley, snowshoeing through pines heavy with powder. There, amid crackling fires and hot cocoa laced with whiskey, truths spilled. Lily's terror of failing the movement she'd inherited, Jordan's nightmares of foster system betrayals, even Alex admitting the cases, when masked nightmares of losing. Gemma shared her own. The night after Lily's coming out, when doubt had whispered, she wasn't enough. "But we are," she concluded, voices overlapping in agreement. "Together, we're unbreakable." Spring tiptoed in with Jordan's prom dilemma. Dateless. Dateless by choice. But the isolation stung. "Everyone pairs off like it's a zoo arc," she grumbled, scrolling feeds. Mia, ever the fixer, rallied. "Screw tradition. Squad night." They transformed the living room into a disco den, disco ball spinning, 70s soul blasting, outfits scavenged from thrift dives. Lily DJ'd in a sequined jumpsuit, Alex twirled Gemma in a fedora, Jordan shone in fishnets and combat boots, her laughter a victory bell. Photos captured the chaos, mid-spin blurs, confetti-strewn grins. "This," Jordan declared, arm around Mia, "is my fairy tale." Gemma's book hit a milestone, a podcast interview with a major outlet, her voice carrying stories of late awakenings to thousands. Fan mail poured in, envelopes thick with gratitude. A 50-year-old mom coming out after decades, a teen crediting her words for family talks. But fame's flip side bit when a conservative blog twisted quotes, branding her agenda-pushing. Hate mail arrived, vile, typed screeds, one even addressing Lily by name. Alex fielded the lawyer angle, a cease and desist drafted swift, but Gemma felt the chill. "It's personal now," she said, shredding letters by the wood stove. Alex held her through the shakes. "They want reaction. We give resolve." Summer scorched with opportunity. a fellowship for Alex in D.C., a 3-month stint advising on federal environmental policy with queer equity lenses. "Come with," she asked, eyes hopeful. Gemma waited. Jordan's adoption finalization, Lily's summer classes, but the pull was magnetic. Road trip east, she decided, the scenic route. They caravanned, Gemma and Alex in the Prius, girls trailing in Lily's patched-together van. Detours wove memories, Badlands hikes evoking freedom's vastness, Chicago deep dish feasts laced with Windy City pride stories, Appalachian folk festivals where fiddles sang of outlaws and love. D.C. sweltered, but Alex's work ignited. Briefings where her voice cut through bureaucracy, advocating for protections tying climate justice to LGBTQ+ rights. Gemma explored, volunteering at a shelter, her counselor's heart-finding home in stories mirroring her own. Evenings, they'd collapse into their DuPont Circle walk-up, wine loosening tongues, Alex venting policy frustrations, Gemma reading draft chapters aloud. The girls crashed often, Lillian turning at a think tank, Jordan shadowing art programs, Mia waitressing to fund her graphic novel dreams. One humid night, thunderstorms rumbling, they played cards against humanity till dawn, laughter a thunder of its own, bonds tightening like vines. Separation loomed when fall beckoned west. Airport goodbyes were tear-streaked, Jordan clinging extra, Lily promising weekly calls. The flight home felt hollow, Seattle's gray a stark contrast to DC's hum. But routine re-anchored. Jordan's school musical, she nailed Rizzo in Grease, belting There Are Worse Things with lived-in grit, Lily's thesis on queerlit gaining prof praise. Gemma dove into a sequel manuscript, themes of chosen kin, while Alex's remote updates buzzed with wins, a bill amendment crediting her input. Thanksgiving pulled them back east, flights converging like migrating birds. David's table, once tense, now hosted an uneasy truce, his new wife, Sarah, dishing pie with genuine warmth, Lily bridging gaps with toasts to second acts. Alex's sister joined, her kids wide-eyed at the cool aunts, a far cry from old rifts. As plates cleared, David pulled Gemma aside. "You've built something fierce.
I'm
learning from it. No apology but progress, a seed in rocky soil." Winter holidays amplified joy's spectrum. Jordan's bat mitzvah, a fusion affair blending Alex's Jewish roots with eclectic rituals, klezmer band, queer-inclusive prayers, Mia's custom talith embroidered with stars. Lily officiated, voice steady. "Today, we affirm Jordan's place in our eternal chain." Tears flowed freer than wine, the sanctuary alive with allies who'd walked similar paths. Yet beneath festivity, undercurrents stirred. A routine checkup for Gemma unearthed a lump, benign, thank God, but the biopsy's weight was agony, a reminder of fragility. Alex flew home mid-crisis, her presence a balm, holding vigil through scans. "We're fighters," she murmured in sterile halls. Clean bill came, but the scare reshaped priorities. More sunsets watched hand in hand, less overtime logged. Jordan, intuiting the fear, drew a family portrait, all of them as superheroes, capes billowing, tacked above the fridge as talisman. As snow melted to slush, spring's renewal mirrored their own. Lily's graduation cum laude, cap tossed skyward amid cheers, Mia proposing on one knee post-ceremony with a ring forged from recycled protest signs. Jordan's acceptance to RASD, art portfolio bursting with pieces inspired by their home, intertwined hands in oil, rainbows refracted through prisms of pain. In May's bloom, Alex returned full-time, fellowships and a homecoming feast of takeout pho and toasts. That night, under a full moon gilding the bay, Gemma and Alex renewed quieter vows on their porch, no officiant, just stars and sincerity. "To the family we forged," Alex said, ring glinting. Below, laughter drifted from the living room, girls plotting futures. Gemma's heart, once fractured, now thrummed whole. Love's alchemy, turning trials to treasure, ensuring no one walked alone. Summer's zenith brought a crossroads. the kind that tests roots and wings. Lily and Mia, fresh from graduation, announced their move, a sublet in Brooklyn, chasing publishing dreams amid the city's pulse. "It's time," Lily said over breakfast, eyes bright but voice catching, "for us to build our nest." Gemma's chest tightened, pride warring with the phantom ache of empty nests past. Alex squeezed her thigh under the table, a silent anchor. Jordan, fork paused mid-bite, blurted, "Does that mean more room for my studio?" Laughter broke the tension, but packing days blurred into a montage of nostalgia, sorting childhood bins, Mia framing old photos, final bonfires where stories looped like vinyl grooves. The airport farewell was a masterclass in measured grief, hugs lingering, promises of visits etched in calendars. As the girls' plane lifted off, Gemma and Alex drove home in weighted silence, the house echoing with absence. "It's right," Alex said finally, hand on Gemma's knee. "They fly because we taught them how." That night, they mourned with Merlot and memories, then made love with a renewed hunger, reclaiming spaces once filled with chaos. Jordan, sensing the shift, threw herself into art prep, her room transforming into a whirlwind of canvases and clay, but she checked in with wide-eyed check-ins. "You two okay, without the circus?" Autumn's palette turned the leaves to flame, mirroring the spark reigniting between Gemma and Alex. With the house quieter, they rediscovered rhythms, pottery classes where Gemma's lopsided bowls earned Alex's teasing kisses, weekend getaways to wine country, tastings laced with flirtation. Gemma's sequel manuscript surged, chapters on empty nests and enduring loves pouring out during solitary mornings. But solitude amplified old doubts, a call from David, voice strained, sharing his father's passing, a man Gemma had met only once, gruff but kind in his way. "He asked about you at the end," David said. "Said you were always the strong one." The news unearthed buried guilts, the life unlived with him, and Gemma confessed to Alex over candlelight. "I wonder if I shortchanged us all." Alex listened, then rose, pulling a box from the closet. Letters, photos, a mixtape cassette from '98 labeled "For the Road Ahead." "You didn't shortchange. You survived. And now, we thrive." They spent the evening decoding the past, tracks like Tracy Chapman's Fast Car, evoking drives to protests, hands intertwined over stick shifts. Jordan wandered in, drawn by the music, curling up to listen. "This is you guys?" "Before me." Her awe bridged eras, and Gemma felt the continuum, love's thread unbroken, weaving generations. Winter whispered in with Jordan's first college break, her dorm tales a torrent, New York profs with accents thick as fog, queer art collectives buzzing with ideas. But she arrived changed, a tattoo blooming on her collarbone, a phoenix, inked in Portland over break. "For rising," she explained, tracing feathers. The reveal sparked a family pact, matching ink, subtle as semicolons on inner wrists, symbols of pauses, not ends. Lily and Mia flew in for the ritual, needles humming in a tattoo parlor strung with pride flags, the pain a shared sacrament. Holidays swelled the house anew. Brooklyn takeout mingling with Alex's lax, games of charades devolving into inside jokes. David's invite extended again, and this time, Gemma went with Alex, hand in hers, a quiet declaration. Sarah's spread was lavish, small talk easing into depths, David admitting therapy's role in his growth, toasts to blended weirdness. Lily, ever the diplomat, bridged with stories of her internship, her voice carrying the weight of their collective evolution. Spring heralded launches, Gemma's sequel, Threads of Chosen, debuted to acclaim, readings packed with faces reflecting her words back, empty nesters embracing late loves, Fosters finding family. One event in Boston overlapped Lily's book expo, a serendipitous collision, mother and daughter on a panel, voices harmonizing on narratives of belonging. Backstage, Lily hugged her. "Your words gave me mine." Tears pricked, legacy tangible. But summer's heat wave masked brewing storms. Alex's firm-eyed expansion, a Seattle branch, but with it, a promotion demanding travel. 6 months in D.C. again? She broached over iced tea, eyes apologetic. Gemma's gut twisted. The bliss of their acclaimed duo, now threatened. Jordan, home for summer job at an art co-op, overheard her reaction fire. Not fair. We just got stable. The argument erupted at dinner, voices overlapping, Alex defending ambition, Gemma torn between support and selfishness, girls texting pleas from afar. Silence followed, heavy as humidity. Reconciliation came slow, a cooling-off hike in Discovery Park, paths winding through ferns like veins. Alex spoke first. I chase cases to prove my worth once. Now? It's for us, better benefits, stability for Jordan's tuition. Gemma nodded, admitting, I fear losing you to the road, like before. They vowed compromises, bi-weekly flights, virtual dates, sealing with a bench-side kiss, salt-tanged from tears. Jordan apologized with a painting, their home as a lighthouse, beams cutting fog. Lily mediated via Zoom. We're anchors, not chains. The compromise held, Alex's trips balanced with returns, airport dashes met with homemade signs, Jordan's art drops in briefcases as talismans. Fall semester whisked Jordan back to RASD, her videos of Providence streets alive with critique sessions. Lily's first novel outline landed an agent, Mia's graphic novel self-published to buzz. Gemma toured the sequel, Alex joining for key stops, their hotel nights a refuge of reconnection, slow dances to old tunes, bodies mapping familiar terrains with grateful hands. Winter's grip loosened to revelations, a pregnancy scare for Mia, false alarm, but sparking talks of futures, of Gemma and Alex as glamour prospects. Holidays innovated, virtual reality toasts with far-flung kin, David's family zooming in, his father's absence a softened scar. New Year's, snow blanketing the city, found them on the roof again, fireworks distant but bright. To balances, Alex murmured. Gemma leaned in. To us, always. Below, Jordan's light flickered on, sketching late, a reminder. Family expanded, but core held eternal. As the calendar flipped to a new decade, the rhythm of their lives pulsed with a hard-won grace, each season layering depth like varnish on wood. Jordan's sophomore year at RISD blossomed into accolades, her thesis show, Entwined Echoes, a series of sculptures blending human forms with natural motifs, drew gallery scouts and tearful pride from Gemma via livestream. It's us, Jordan explained in the Q&A, gesturing to a piece of braided vines forming embracing figures. The tangles that hold, not hinder. Alex, in town for a deposition, surprised her with a post-show dinner at a vegan spot, toasting to the artist who sees souls. Lily and Mia, crashing from Brooklyn, turned it into a late-night karaoke crawl, belting show tunes till dawn, their harmony a testament to distances bridged. Gemma's writing career crested unexpectedly, a TEDx invite, late bloomers, love after the silence, her talk a viral spark, millions of views, invitations cascading. The prep was grueling, nights scripting with Alex's edit sharp as ever, but the stage in Vancouver electrified. Her voice, steady with age's authority, wove personal lore with universal truths, ending on Lily's coming out as catalyst. Backstage, a fan, a grandmother, out at 70, hugged her sobbing. You gave me permission. The ripple fed Gemma's next project, a workshop series for midlife queer women, spaces carved in community centers from Seattle to Portland, where stories swapped like sacred texts. Alex's promotion solidified, the Seattle office her domain, but success shadowed stress, a high-profile case against a corporation greenwashing queer rights, depositions dragging through summer swelter. Late hours left her drained, snapping over forgotten dry cleaning, the old patterns of disconnection creeping. Gemma called it out during a ferry ride to Bainbridge, waves chopping below. We're veterans now. Don't let work widow us again. Alex deflated, admitting burnout's bite. They instituted recharge rites, weekly no-phone dinners, massages traded in the dim living room, reclaiming intimacy with deliberate tenderness, touches lingering like unspoken psalms. Fall's harvest brought a harvest of heartaches too. Lily's novel deal came with a gut-punch deadline, revisions bleeding into Mia's launch party for her graphic novel, Ink and Inheritance, a memoir graphic of immigrant queer youth. Tensions flared, Lily ghosting edits for support, Mia feeling sidelined, culminating in a tearful Brooklyn call. We love hard, but it's messy. Gemma mediated from afar, drawing on her counselor's toolkit. Listen like it's your last chance. Love's not possession, it's partnership. A weekend retreat to the Finger Lakes mended, their return fortified, joint book tour planned, titles twinned on shelves. Jordan's world tilted with her first heartbreak, a studio crush, non-binary and brilliant, ghosting after a vulnerable share. She arrived home unannounced, duffel thumping on the porch, eyes shadowed. Why does it hurt this much? The house enveloped her. Alex's herbal teas, Gemma's long listens, a bonfire where they burned. What if notes scribbled on birch bark? Lily FaceTimed solidarity tales. Mia sketched caricatures to coax laughs. Healing unfolded slow. Therapy doubled down. Art as outlet, a campus support group forging new kin. By winter break, Jordan emerged lighter, dating casually, her phoenix tattoo a touchstone. Holidays innovated amid evolution. David's wedding anniversary bash, an outdoor affair where exes mingled without frost. Sarah's speech lauding Gemma's influence on Lily's fearless heart. Alex and Gemma danced a slow set, her whisper hot. Who knew civility could be sexy? Lily's Yuletide visit overlapped Jordan's, the house a whirlwind of baking fails and board game marathons, Mia's dreidel hacks adding chaos. A surprise guest, Alex's niece, a teen questioning her path, wide-eyed at the auntie's love nest. Late-night talks under twinkling lights planted seeds, the girl leaving with a dog-eared copy of Gemma's book. New Year's resolution? A family pact for presents, monthly full moon check-ins, virtual or visceral, sharing highs and hollows. Spring honored it with a road trip south, California redwoods echoing their college dreams, Muirwood's giants a cathedral for reflections. Jordan sketched bark textures, Lily journaled poems, Mia photographed light shafts, Gemma and Alex wandered hand in hand, rings glinting like dewdrops. This is legacy, Gemma said, moss soft underfoot. Alex nodded. Hours passed on. Summer's idyll shattered with a call from RASD. Jordan's piece selected for a national exhibit in D.C., but funding short. Crowdfunding surged. Lily's network, Gemma's readers, Alex's firm pro bono, hitting goal in days. Perks like virtual studio tours bonding backers. The opening was electric. Jordan in a thrifted suit, sculptures glowing under spots, critics praising raw intimacy. Alex flew her there, Gemma joining for the afterparty, toasts clinking to roots and wings. Lily and Mia surprised with a flash visit, the Capitol night alive with their collective glow. Fall deepened commitments. Lily's novel release, a launch in a Brooklyn bookstore thrumming with allies, Gemma reading an excerpt on stage, mother-daughter synergy sparking applause. Mia's follow-up graphic, threads unraveled, tackled their rough patch, vulnerability lauded. Back west, Alex's case wrapped triumphant, settlement funding community grants, her exhaustion yielding to elation, celebrated with a hot air balloon ride over the valleys, baskets swaying as champagne popped. Winter's chill ushered introspection. Gemma's 50th loomed, a milestone marked not with fanfare but a solo retreat to the cabin, Alex respecting the space. Journals filled with gratitudes, Lily's flight, Jordan's fire, Alex's constancy, emerging renewed, party a potluck of chosen kin, toasts to half a century of heart. David's gift arrived, a framed photo from Lily's birth, note reading to the mom who started it all. As snow thawed, a letter from Alex's late mother surfaced in attic digs, unsent, penned post-diagnosis. My Alexa, Forgive my blindness. Your love lit the way I couldn't see. Read aloud by firelight, it dissolved remnants of grudge. Alex's tears cathartic. Jordan illustrated it into a keepsake booklet, pages bound with ribbon. Spring's renewal crested in quiet vows. Gemma and Alex, on their anniversary, planting a garden, lavender for memory, roses for passion, veggies for sustenance. Lily and Mia announced engagement plans, casual rings exchanged in Central Park. Jordan's summer internship at a queer archive promised purpose. In June's full bloom, under a canopy of petals, Gemma reflected, from a kitchen confession to this verdant sprawl, life had scripted a saga of returns, daughter to self, love to heart. Alex's hand in hers, girls' voices distant but dear. She knew. Endings were illusions, love's story, eternal. The garden's bounty swelled through summer's languid haze, tomatoes ripening like secrets under the sun, a metaphor for the slow unfurling of truths long buried. Lily and Mia's engagement party, a backyard bash under strung bulbs, drew a mosaic crowd, Brooklyn literati rubbing elbows with Seattle activists, David's awkward toast met with Alex's wry counter. To love that defies timelines. Jordan, back from internship, emceed with flair, her slideshow of couple candids eliciting roars. Mia's proposal pratfall, Lily's tear-streaked yes. Gemma watched from the porch swing, Alex's arm around her waist, a quiet awe settling. Her daughter, once trembling in a kitchen, now radiant in commitment's light. Fall's academic churn pulled Jordan deeper into her MFA pursuits, thesis whispers of familial fractals, hinting at inspirations drawn from home. Late-night calls buzzed with dilemmas, mentor clashes, imposter pangs. Gemma's response is a lifeline. Doubts the artist's shadow, dance with it. Lily's book tour hit snags, a bad review slicing deep, but Mia's steadfast scripting of comics buoyed her. Words wound, but they also wing. Alex, mentoring a junior lawyer coming out mid-case, channeled her own history into guidance, evenings debriefing with Gemma over stir-fries, their partnership a masterclass in mutual uplift. Winter's onset carried a curve from the past, an email from Gemma's college roommate, unearthed via a memoir mention, enclosing scanned photos, grainy Polaroids of 90s protests, Gemma and Alex mid-chant, fists raised, eyes locked in shared fire. You two were legends, the note read. The images, pinned to the fridge, sparked dinner table time travels, Jordan quizzing on era specifics, Lily drawing parallels to modern marches. One snowy eve, Alex pulled Gemma to the attic, unearthing her own relic box, the poetry journal from their dorm days, pages brittle but verses vivid. Reading aloud by lantern light, words like, your touch, a revolution's spark, blurred lines between then and now, their kiss a bridge across decades. Holidays layered traditions anew, a joint Christmas-Hanukkah Seder, Jordan leading blessings with artistic twists, matzah covers embroidered with phoenixes. David's family integrated smoother, his stepkids gifting handmade ornaments, a fragile peace blooming. Lily and Mia, stateside for the fest, unveiled wedding vision boards, elopement in the redwoods, intimate, eco-conscious. No fuss, Mia insisted, just us and the trees as witnesses. Gemma teared up, hugging them. Perfect. Like you too. New Year's dawned with ambition, Alex pitching a nonprofit arm to her firm, blending legal aid with queer elder care, inspired by Gemma's workshops. Your stories lit the fuse, she said, proposal polished over shared desks. Gemma greenlit her third book, Echoes of Return, delving into reinvention's ripple effects, interviews with late bloomers forming a chorus. Jordan's exhibit tour hit Chicago, her talk on sculpting belonging live-streamed home, cheers echoing from screens. Spring's thaw unearthed tensions, a funding cut to Alex's initiative, bureaucracy's bite stalling momentum. Frustration boiled over a terse dinner. They see us as niche, not necessity. Alex's fist clenched on fork. Gemma diffused with candor. Then we amplify. My platform, your expertise, tag team. A joint op-ed landed in a major outlet, voices intertwined, sparking donor influx. Victory tasted sweeter shared, celebrated with rooftop picnics, city lights, winking approval. Summer's heatwave hosted milestones, Lily and Mia's redwood wedding, a circle of kin under ancient canopies, Jordan officiating with poetic vows, Alex and Gemma exchanging renewed rings mid-ceremony, a spontaneous echo. Vows spoken. In storms and sun, I choose you. Rings glinted on fingers young and weathered, a lineage of promise. Post-nuptials, bonfire toasts roasted in jokes, dawn breaking on tangled sleeping bags, love's tapestry vast. Fall deepened Jordan's commitments, a fellowship in Berlin, 6 months abroad, her excitement laced with trepidation. Packing parties filled the house, suitcases stuffed with sketch pads, care packages of lavender sachets. Airport send-off was a group huddle, tears and laughs mingling. Conquer, kid. We're your North Star. Her check-ins, time zone tangled, brimmed with tales, Berlin's queer scene electric, gallery crawls yielding mentors. It's scary big, she admitted once, but I feel you all here. Gemma's response, that's family. Invisible ink, always readable. Lily's pregnancy announcement hit like joyful thunder, due spring, a Brooklyn bundle blending their worlds. Anti-duties await, she teased on calls, ultrasounds shared like treasures. Mia's nerves surfaced in sketches of nursery whimsy, Lily's in nesting frenzies. Gemma and Alex dove into grandparent prep, classes on modern queering of the role, a nursery quilt stitched with symbols, rainbows for resilience, trees for roots. Winter's hush amplified anticipation, Jordan's holiday return, jet-lagged but glowing, Berlin halls unpacked, chocolate, prints, a tiny sculpture of their home for the mantle. Holidays hummed with baby brainstorm. Names debated river? Sage. Registries crowdsourced. David's zoom-in brought grandfatherly quips, his growth a quiet gift. As snow blanketed, Gemma's book tour wove east-west, Alex tagging for key legs, their hotel harmonizing as writing den. One Chicago stop overlapped Jordan's exhibit extension, a family convergence in the Windy City, panels shared, dinners deep. Lily's shower virtualized, games silly, gifts practical poetic, Alex's legal will templates for the legacy, Gemma's inscribed Audre Lorde. Spring birthed the babe, a girl, Ellis, tiny fists waving like flags of arrival. Gemma and Alex flew east, hearts full, cradling the swaddled miracle, her cries a new symphony. Lily, exhausted radiant, whispered, "She has your eyes, Mom." In that hospital hush, Gemma saw the arc complete. From one daughter's confession to this granddaughter's first breath, love's chain unbroken. Back home, rhythms reshuffled around Ellis visits, FaceTime coups, care packages dispatched. Jordan extended Berlin, fellowships chaining, her art gaining international murmur. Alex's nonprofit launched, doors opening to elders sharing silent sagas, Gemma facilitating circles where voices, long quiet, soared. Summer's garden flourished untended, weeds claiming space as lessons in letting go. Lily's postpartum haze yielded to matrescence might, Mia's comics chronicling the chaos. Gemma's fourth project brewed, an oral history podcast, returns unspoken, capturing late love's lyrics. In August's golden slant, a letter arrived from Alex's long-lost college lover, post-reading fan. Your story echoed mine. Thank you for the courage. No jealousy, just gratitude's glow. They framed it beside Polaroids, a gallery of graces. Fall's foliage framed reflections, a vow renewal for Gemma and Alex, intimate under harvest moon, Jordan Skyping vows from Berlin, Lily and Mia toasting with babes in arms. To circles closing, opening anew. Winter whispered closures, David's health scare, minor but sobering, pulling Gemma east for support, old wounds salved in hospital waits, his hand in hers a bridge to peace. "You were right," he murmured. "Live true." As year turned, snow soft on sills, Gemma traced Alex's sleeping form, Ellis's photo propped nearby, Jordan's latest sketch unboxed. From a doorbell's chime to this constellation, daughters flown, granddaughter arrived, love's layered. She knew. Life's plot, though twisted, trended toward light. And in that knowing, peace profound. The years that followed folded like the pages of a well-loved book, each chapter richer for the creases, the margins alive with annotations of joy and quiet mendings. Alice grew into a whirlwind of curiosity, her toddler tantrums over Brooklyn blocks met with Lily's patient rhymes, Mia's illustrated distractions, a far cry from the structured calm Gemma had once enforced. Video calls became rituals, Gemma reading The Giving Tree with exaggerated voices, Alex demonstrating legal loopholes via puppet shows. See, baby? Even trees have rights. Jordan, settled in Berlin post-fellowship, curated her first solo show, fractured homes, forged hearts, sculptures shipped home for a pre-opening viewing, Ellis's chubby fingers poking at wire forms, declaring pretty breaky. The pride in Jordan's voice over the line, static-laced, carried oceans. She's got the eye, and Alex. Gemma's podcast launched to acclaim, episodes weaving elders' tales, a rancher out at 80, her wife's hand steady through dust storms, a librarian whose forbidden Sappho shelf sparked a lifetime romance. Listeners flooded inboxes. Your voice gave mine permission. Alex guested once, her story of return a cornerstone, their shared mic moment electric, fingers brushing under the table, a private thunder. The nonprofit thrived, chapters sprouting in cities like wildflowers, Gemma's workshops feeding its soul, circles where grandmas swapped coming-out scripts for grandkids. Lily's second novel delved motherhood's multitudes, raw and redemptive, climbing charts while Mia's series evolved into animated shorts, Ellis voicing a pint-sized hero. Family convergences marked solstices, summer solstice in the redwoods, a decade post-wedding, Ellis chasing fireflies as vows renewed under stars. Jordan lived from Berlin, her partner Lena debuting virtually, a soft-spoken ceramist whose work echoed Jordan's tangles. "She's the steady to my storm," Jordan confided later, over wine shipped stateside. Gemma smiled, seeing the pattern, love as compliment, not conquest. Fall's harvest brought David's milestone, retirement, a cross-country RV trek with Sarah, halting in Seattle for a harbor cruise. Awkwardness had evaporated into ease. He marveled at Ellis's chatter, quizzed Jordan on Euro art scenes via Zoom. "You got a full house, Gem," he said, sunset gilding waves. "Fuller than I ever managed. No regret, just recognition. A benediction unspoken." Winter's introspections deepened as Gemma turned 55, a milestone masked in modesty, a cabin getaway with Alex, snowshoeing silent trails, journals swapped like valentines, entries of gratitudes, fears faced. "You make aging an adventure," Alex wrote, her script elegant as ever. Back home, the party was a surprise potluck, Lily and Mia flying in with Ellis, Jordan's parcel bursting confetti, even David's care package of his mother's recipe book. Toasts rang. "To Gemma, the heart that holds us." Tears and cake mingled, Ellis smearing frosting on cheeks, the room a symphony of souls she'd gathered. Spring's awakening mirrored Jordan's news. Engagement to Lena, a Berlin commitment under linden trees, rings of recycled silver. The wedding, hybrid, half in Teutonic halls, half streamed to Seattle, wove worlds. Jordan in a suit embroidered with family motifs, Lena's vows in bilingual poetry, Ellis flower girl in a tutu of chaos. Gemma and Alex danced remotely, screens aglow, Lily's tears sinking with theirs. The chain lengthens, Alex whispered post-ceremony, Jordan's kiss to Lena a new link. Summer's Idol hosted Ellis's preschool graduation. A backyard affair with capes and cookies, her diploma a crayon scrawl. Lily's sabbatical allowed extended stays, the house pulsing with grandchild energy, fort-building marathons, Alex's legal lessons, Viadol trials. A scare-punctuated bliss. Alex's routine skin flagging a shadow, gallstones benign, but the weight echoed Gemma's old fear, nights huddled in worry. Clean results brought relief's flood, Alex quipping, "Even rocks can't keep us down." They marked it with a tattoo touch-up, semicolons refreshed, a phoenix feather added for flight. Fall's foliage-framed launches, Gemma's oral history compiled into print, Whispers returned, a bestseller in niche circles, forward by Lily. Jordan's post-wedge show toured stateside, Ellis toddling amid installations, her gurgles the best review. Mia's animation premiered at a fest, queer family rep lauded, Ellis cameo stealing scenes. Winter holidays innovated, a legacy letter exchange, each penning missives to future selves and kin, Gemma's to Ellis on loving fiercely, Alex's to Jordan on forgiving slow. Read aloud by firelight, voices cracking, the rituals sealed with seals of wax, archived in a cedar box. As another year waned, Gemma reflected in Dawn's quiet, Alex stirring beside, coffee perking distant. Ellis's drawings taped to fridge, Jordan's Berlin postcard propped, Lily's latest manuscript excerpt emailed. From that fateful kitchen echo, "Mom, I'm gay," to this dawn chorus of lives intertwined, she traced a path of profound becoming, mother, lover, witness to wonders. Love, she'd learned, wasn't arrival but perpetual return, doors opening inward, hearts expanding outward. The epilogue wrote itself in small strokes. Ellis's first "I love you, Nana," whispered during a park swing, Jordan's pregnancy announcement, a Berlin bundle due summer, Lily's TED echo, her talk on inherited audacity. Alex's retirement whispers, time for travels, Tuscany vines, Japanese onsen, hands linked eternal. In a garden gray with autumn, Gemma pruned lavender, clippings scenting air with memory. Alex joined, shears clipping in tandem. "Worth it?" she asked, eyes twinkling. Gemma pulled her close, kiss tasting of earth and forever. Every thorn, every bloom. And in that embrace, under skies vast as possibility, she knew the story's end was but a pause, love's narrative, infinite, ever unfolding.